Avril, how are
Hi.
you?
Good morning.
Nice to see
It's
you.
noon.
It feels like morning
It
for
feels
me.
like 6 a.m. for
Oh,
me.
really?
Oh yeah,
Did you?
rock star hours, dude. I just got like okay, so back on tour.
Yeah,
Like normally we go to bed at like 5 a.m. because you're just rolling into a hotel, and
yeah.
then you wake up at like 3 in the afternoon. Back on those hours.
How is being? Because I should say we're talking backstage at
Yeah,
before your show, like hours before your show, but before your show.
I'm camping right now. I just woke up on a tour bus, like an RV. Yeah,
How are you? How are you finding being back?
it's amazing. It's like bringing back like all these really good memories. And I'm in Canada, and so this is where we just kicked off the Bite Me tour, and it's my seventh tour. And yeah, it's been like all the shows have been fucking phenomenal. Just like the energy and like the audience and the crowd has been like crazy good. Just like walking out on stage, and I'm seeing like everyone's faces, and they're just like lit up and they're stoked and they're like there to party and have a good time. So that like energy is like rubbing off on me, and like the show's been amazing.
Are you back? Did you feel like you were back at it right away? Did it take you a while to get used to being
It's
back on
like
stage?
muscle memory.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like literally like I mean, so I'm playing songs from the new album Love Sucks. I've like got about 6 songs from the new record, and then songs from every album. I think that's important. And I mean, so I'm like playing like My Happy Ending and like Complicated, and these are songs I've been playing for years, so it's like it brings back memories. It makes me think of my previous tours and like at those times in my life shooting those videos and writing those songs. So it's like it's really cool. Plus I have like some of my crew with me and my family that travel with me, and it's just like it's just cool to see everybody, and like my family comes out to the shows in Canada, and like my high school friends, like old neighbors. And so it's like really taking me back. It's
What's
really
that
cool.
like when the old neighbors show up and the high school friends show up?
Well, I have like my friend from high school meeting me in Winnipeg, and like it'll be like nothing, no time had gone by. Like I'll have her back in the dressing room, we'll catch up, and um, it'll be really cool. She'll probably bring me Hawkins cheesies
My favorite.
because you can only get them in Canada. She used to like mail them to me in LA.
They're my favorite snack in the entire world.
Yeah, I actually bought some at the gas station last night when we pulled over to gas the bus.
Can I ask you about Love Sucks?
Yeah, can ask, we're mic'd up. You can ask me about whatever you want.
Okay, I'll get you to pick my lotto
Yeah.
numbers in a second, and I'll ask you about the weather. Interesting title, and it's a great record. Like I
Thank
really,
you.
really love listening to it. Talk to me a little bit about the headspace you need to be in for a record to be written and titled "Love Sucks."
So Love Sucks was one of the first songs that I wrote for the album, and it was how I was feeling that day and that week. At that point in my life, I was just feeling like, okay, I need a minute. I need a break. I'm a little burnt out on love right now. I'm gonna focus on myself, and I started making my album, and that didn't last very long, but it set the tone for the rest of the record. And I had a lot of time in the pandemic to like reflect on my life in love and like things I'd gone through and all the crazy things it's put me through. And it felt very like, all right, we're going to tap into this and have some fun with it. And the songs have a sense of humor. So like Love Sucks reminds me a little bit of my song Girlfriend, sonically and lyrically, and just like the spirit. So Girlfriend is like, I don't like your girlfriend. I think you need a new one. And it's humorous and playful. And Love Sucks is like, not another breakup. When I think of you, I just want to throw up. Lying in my bed, why does love suck? Because that's how you feel sometimes when you're like going through it in love. You feel like you're going to barf. So I just wrote about it.
Are you a therapeutic songwriter? Like, is it therapeutic for you to write sad songs or songs about going through a
Um,
breakup?
like I write about love a lot. Obviously, I think a lot of artists do. I've written about the different things I've gone through in my life, and like, I mean, it's easy to write a breakup song for me. It's easy to make fun of like what love puts us through, and like I kept it really lighthearted. Like my last album, Head Above Water, was very like emotional and deep, and it was like a little heavy, and like it was a little dark. And like this album is called Love Sucks, but it's also just very like lighthearted.
Yeah.
It's playful, and it's like also there are a couple like 2 love songs on the record too.
Is it helpful for you? Like, I know you're good at writing love songs, and I know you're good at writing breakup songs, and I've also like I've read that writing melodies comes very easy to you, which I find really interesting. Does it help you at all? Like, does it help you? A lot of songwriters will tell me that writing songs helps them process their own emotions.
I mean, yeah, it depends. Sometimes it's like, where did this even come from? And I write a song and it's so fast. And then other times, like, I don't know, it depends on the mood and what it's about. I'll sit at the piano and I'll just be like, okay, fuck it. Just open up, say it exactly how it is. Don't worry about whatever. Just be vulnerable. But this album was so fun. And we wrote it during the pandemic. And I met the boys, Modson and John Feldman, through this making this album. I'd known Travis Barker previously, and it was like easy, and it was fun, and it was like effortless, and it brought me like a lot of joy. I was like, okay, this is like a crew of people that really like get me. And so like we're writing songs together, and like they were producing, and it was all just coming together very quickly. Whereas like as a songwriter, sometimes like I write songs and then I have to go on this hunt for the producer.
What do you mean?
Like I'll write a song and then I have to go find a producer to produce it. And it's like, okay, interviewing people, sitting down with people, getting in the studio, see who jives, see who doesn't. Sometimes they take a stab at the song and it's like, that's not how I heard it in my head. And so when I say this album was easy, it was like working with John Feldman for the first time. I was like, bro, where have you been the last 10 years? Like everything that when I would write the song, we would write the song together and he would just record it on the spot. I loved the guitars. I loved the drum sounds, the parts, everything. And it just, so I feel like we all got each other, all of us. And it was just like easy.
Can we listen to the one of the tracks off the record? Just take a listen to this.
Nah, 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 not another breakup. It's gonna make it. Gonna taste it. Yeah, so like Feldy's production was just fucking awesome. And then it's like Travis Barker gets on the drums and it's like, slate it, bitch.
Talk to me about where that song came from.
Bite Me?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Bite Me was the most random song. Like, I can't even believe it ended up being the first single. Like, how does that happen? Well, Bite Me was just like a bunch of us in the studio, and it was like half done for like the first 6 months. And then we decided to make it the single and then went in and recorded verses.
Had you written the lyrics beforehand?
So like I wrote the chorus in the studio with all the guys. I started it. And then they helped me finish it. And I just got into the booth. And this is where like a track, like they'd started a track. It was like really slow. Then we like sped it up. Then I just jumped in, no pressure in front of everyone. And I have to just like start singing. And I don't have lyrics. I don't know. Oh no. I'd written on the chalkboard, Bite Me. Because I knew I wanted that to be a song title. That's good, yeah. And so when I went in there, like I had known that I wanted a song called Bite Me. And then I started just singing like, ayo, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, ayo. I just started singing ayos, ayo, ayo. And then it was, then I would like come up with a line and then a da-da-da, and then Maud, and then Feldy, and then it all came together. And it was just like another easy like kind of like song that's just like about self-worth and self-love and respect and saying goodbye, not giving someone a second chance. And like truthfully, before I started the album, like I had gone through like a gnarly breakup that like really did take a toll on me. And like I like had held on to that, and so like a lot of the stuff was pulled from that. And then some of it wasn't. Some of it was just like, all right, this is fun. This is what love does to us.
Yeah, you hear that on the
Let's-
record because
yeah.
like there are moments like just like for that song,
Yeah.
I had moments when I listened to that song of like, man, oh man, to go through a breakup and to because it's like there's breakup songs that are I'm so sad that we broke
Yeah.
up, and then there's that song which is I'm so sad we broke up, but you missed out on something.
Yeah.
Like I like to come through a breakup song with a sense of self-worth is meaningful. It's interesting to me, Avril, you know?
Yeah, it was pretty easy to say, like, when someone messed up and they know it, like, sorry, I'm the one who got away. Like, forever you're gonna wish I was your wifey. But I also think that that's something like a lot of like chicks go through or whoever, and like, you know, it's funny to say that. Like, it's just another way of being like, okay, I'm the one who got away, and you know it, and I know it. Forever and ever, you're gonna wish I was your wifey.
It's a big rock record too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the past records there were more ballads, there were more
And like my whole life, that's all I wanted to do is like rock out. And like working with John Feldman, it was like he's from Goldfinger. His guitar playing, I was like, bro, you're like my favorite guitarist. Like this, everything he plays, I love. And so we had a lot of fun, just like.
Was that intentional? Like, did you want to make a pop punk record? Like, did you want to make a rock record? Was there a because it feels intentional to me. Because it feels fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to make this a serious record. It's a fun, awesome record. But there's meaning to me that this is the first Avril Lavigne like full rock record I've heard in a really long time.
Yeah, I've said that. I feel that it's probably the most alternative from front to back. And my albums have been very diverse. There's like mid-tempos and like ballads, and then you'll have a rock song. So yeah, this is the first one that's like all the way through like that. And I feel like the record I've always wanted to make. And it was just like so easy and effortless. I didn't have like managers and a record label at the time either. And I was like, oh, this is fun. I'm making a whole album with like my friends. Like no one knows.
How does it feel when you're on stage playing these songs?
It feels great. I mean, it's been, I don't know, like, it's been a really, like, really beautiful experience to just, like, I'm probably 6 shows into the tour, and finally, like, we're all back on tour, which feels really nice, and it's just, it's like crazy to just be like, I'm on this arena tour and I'm looking at this massive audience every night singing the, oh my God, like screaming, bite me. And it's such a rewarding feeling. And I feel really lucky and really grateful to still be here today, like making music, like on tour, my 7th world tour. And the new songs have been going over really well live, and they all kind of flow together really nicely with the older ones. And I put a lot into the show, and I'm really happy with it, and it's going over great.
This is a cool time to talk to you because
I just rolled off a tour bus.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And I'm just having my morning coffee.
That's
with
what
you.
I mean. You're having your morning coffee at 1 p.m. That's what I mean.
I wake up every day at 3. I'm like, who am I? It's just like, I'm not partying or anything on this tour. Like, obviously in my 20s, that's all we did was just like drink beer and like eat pizza after the show and stay up late.
Yeah.
And I'm like green juice girl now and like extra hydrating.
Yeah,
and I'm still going to bed at 5 and waking up at 3. It's just what happens.
Could you have imagined that you'd still be doing all of this 20 years into your career?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
What do you mean?
That's all I wanted.
What do you mean?
A lot of people have brought that up to me. They're like, there's like interviews of me when I'm younger saying like, I want to do this for a long time. Like, I'm going to do this for a long time. I always in my head thought like, I don't know, like how like Madonna had been doing music her whole life. Like, and I just was like, I feel like I'll do that like my whole life. And like 20 years. So I was saying on stage the other night, I was like, this is a special year. It marks the 20th anniversary from my first album, Let Go. And I was like, yo, it's so crazy, 20 years, but I'm still like young. And I was like,
Yeah.
I got another 20 left in me.
Yeah, man, I bet. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I want to go back to that.
Yeah.
Did you like when you were like, because you were like 16 when you got signed
Mm-hmm.
and you were 17 when Let Go came out?
Yes. Yeah.
What kind of kid knows then that they're going to, like, this is going to be my life?
I don't know. Like, I, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, that takes a certain kind
Sorry,
of.
I don't have a good answer.
Oh, come on. You know what I mean? Like, what does it say about you that even back
It's
then
just a
you
feeling,
knew?
probably. I was just like, I don't know. It was just like, I didn't even know like what Hollywood was and record deals. And I like, when I was like 14 singing on stage, and it was just like really like pure, like where I was just like, I just want to be a singer and I want to play in front of lots of people. And like, I was from a tiny little town in Napanee, Ontario.
Napanee.
And like, I didn't even know it was a possibility, but like I felt it in my body that like that was something I was going to do and I wanted to do. And I remember thinking like, well, I better hurry up.
You better hurry up.
Yeah, I want to be doing this while I'm young. Like I had that thought, like mentality. I'm so glad it all happened when I was young too.
What do you mean? Why?
Because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like traveling and being on a plane every day in a different city every day, and then going international and like traveling all across Europe and Asia and all the different time zones, and like getting up and doing full press days. And it's like, it's not just about singing. There's so much more to it. I was telling Olivia Rodrigo that the other day. I had sang with her on her tour, and I was like catching up and touching base with her, and I was like, how are you doing? She's like, it's so crazy. And it was her first tour, and we were just talking about tour life, and I gave her like my advice, and I was like, it's so crazy. I was like, yo, yeah, there's like so much more that goes into it than just performing, just like everything backstage that no one sees. And it's like a wild ride. And there's a lot to it.
What was that like when you first started? Like, what was it like to go from like, because it happened so fast, right? Like, I want to talk a little bit about the first record. Like, well, let me start with this. What gigs were these when you were 14? What stages were you standing on when you were 14?
Shania Twain's stage.
Can you tell me that story?
Yeah.
I've heard that story. I've heard like about that story.
Okay, so like basically I started singing, I don't know, like that tall, 5, 7, 6, 7, in church, on stage, fairs, banquets, whatever. Then like I was 14, there was on the radio station, there was like a competition to sing with Shania. I won.
Oh yeah.
And went to Ottawa, met Shania, sang on stage with her. I sang one of her like old school country songs.
What song?
It's called What Made You Say That? And like that was like crazy, because I'd been, okay, so if I was 14, I'd probably started singing like, so I'd been singing for at least 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
Or 9, like already. And that was like the biggest stage I'd like first walked out onto, and I felt like this crazy rush of like, oh my God, I have to do this. Like, this is insane. This is amazing. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was just like this like feeling that came over me, like this is what I want to do. Obviously I knew that, but it was like experiencing it. And obviously it was her show, not mine. Literally like 2-3 years later, I was at that same venue, that arena in Ottawa, sold out.
Oh
my
God.
own show. Like, how crazy is that?
It's unbelievable. Did Shania tell you anything? She give you any advice? Like you gave to Olivia?
Well, we've like talked over the years, and I just did a podcast with her.
Yeah.
And it was so cool catching up. And catching up like 20 years later, like, or way more than that.
Yeah.
And, I think like she's like 25 years into her career or something, and I'm like 20 years into mine. So we were just actually just talking about like what that's like. But yeah, like meeting her, she was lovely. And I think it was such a cool thing that she was doing for younger artists to like help them get noticed and have an opportunity to jump up on stage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's another story I wanted to ask about. I heard the story that when you first get signed, you get brought into this kind of these writing sessions, and you have all these songs, and there's other people there who are going to help you flesh these songs out. But like they all want you to make you sound a completely different way. Like none of it is the stuff that we ended up hearing on the record. Like they didn't want to make the kind of music that you wanted to make. And at that age, even then, if I get the story right, you had the foresight even then to be like, I don't want to work with these people.
Yeah.
Is this true?
I was very clear on what I liked and didn't like, and I still am today.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, that's kind of normal. Like, I was a new artist, so it was like they put me with, like, randoms, and I was just strangers, and I would just have to, like, write songs. But to me, like, I was coming right out of high school, like, skateboarding, listening to Blink-182, and, like, learning, guitar on my own, and, like, taking an interest in playing the drums, and like I was really gravitated towards like more rock music at that time, and that's what I wanted my music to sound like. Some people couldn't wrap their head around that, and I was also so young that they were like, oh no, we're gonna write the songs. And I was like, no, I want to write the songs, because I had gotten signed off of the song I wrote at I sang it for LA when I was 15 years old, LA Reid.
Yeah.
So I was like, the song called Why that I wrote about being mad at my mom.
Do you remember any of it? Do you still sing it?
So then the producer that I worked with changed it and made it sound like a romantic song.
Okay.
Like he like tweaked it.
What was the original song? Was it like why am I?
It was like, why do you always do this to me? I think I was like mad. I probably had to like go to my room or something. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so because you get signed off your own music, it makes sense. You're a young artist. People, they're going to put you into a room and they're going to try to help you. They're going to try to force a sound on you. Let me push back on one thing. When you're 16 years old or 15 years old, most people are working at Dairy Queen. They don't have the foresight to be able to go, no, this is not me. Mm-hmm. That's special to me, Avril.
Bro, I worked at a fried chicken joint.
Yeah.
Mary Brown's Fried Chicken.
My favorite.
I cut grass.
Oh, yeah.
I shoveled driveways.
Yeah.
I babysat.
Yeah.
Like, I did it all.
Yeah. But you had the ability at 16 to go like, that's not what I sound like. I sound like this.
Yes. And then I started writing, and then I was writing music. And then, yeah, so like I got signed, and like on the first album, it was a challenge because like all the producers and co-writers that I was working with like expected something different, or it was like they thought they would do most of the work, but like I was like, no, songwriting's really important to me. And then so like and then the style, I was trying to tell them like production wise, I don't want it to be just like light and fluffy and all bubble gummy. Like I want to rock. Like I want distorted guitars. I want this to be guitar driven. And so I went through way more than a handful of people on the first album, and then I didn't really have that good luck. I started in New York City. I moved out there, and it wasn't really great. And then I went to LA, and then I met some really cool people like Cliff Magnus and Lauren Christie from The Matrix, and they were like, the shit we were writing was cool.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, okay. And I was like listening to me, and I was like, talking about my life, what I was going through. I just got out of high school. I was obsessed with skater boys. Like anyone who with skate shoes, I was like, where are you? And like, so I'm sitting around with like Lauren Christie, and she's like, oh, and like, I'm like telling her about myself and the music I like, and that I wanted a song like that was pop punk, and we wrote Skater Boy, and like, they listened to Cliff Magnus. I was like, let's fucking rock out. And like, we wrote Losing Grip and Unwanted, and like, they listened and they got it and they got me. And it like took a long time to get to that point. Like 6 months in New York, it was like not great. And it was like, okay, some stuff was still okay, but like my favorite stuff, and yeah, so like it took a while.
What is it like when everything changed? Like what is it like? I know this is a broad question. What is it like to go from playing on like church halls in Napanee to like a couple of years later being globally famous with the biggest record in the world, and Complicated becomes the biggest record in the world, and Skater Boy, can I say this? Sounds kind of fucked up. Like what is that like?
Yeah. So crazy. One of my first shows was in Vancouver, and after we were like doing band rehearsals for a couple weeks, and we were so wild on stage, like throwing guitars and stage diving and doing all the rock star shit that we like thought we were supposed to do plus wanted to do. Like, and we were like getting in trouble. Like, okay, you guys can't throw guitars and drumsticks. You poke an eyeball out. Like, we were told to we're like, calm it down, reel it in. I remember like at that show being in my dressing room and like peeking out of the window and seeing like a line of like people coming into the show, and they were all dressed like me in like neckties and the white tank top and the black eyeliner. And I was like, what? And it was just like, it was crazy. Everything happened really fast. And I'm trying, it was just like new cities, new countries, first time shooting a video, first time like seeing, like being at an award show, first time everything. And it was just like, wow, oh my God, total dream come true. I can't pinch me. I can't believe this is happening.
It sounds unbelievable. Like,
yeah. And it's crazy because now I'm on tour and I'm like jumping up on stage, and it's like we had such a big break in the pandemic, and like kind of recently before that I had like a mini break, but like I feel like myself. Like when I'm up on stage, I'm like, oh, okay, this is me. And like when I'm making music, shooting videos, I'm like, this is what I truly love to do.
That takes a long time to learn, I understand. Like people who have gone through what you've gone through. It's funny I say gone through. Like it sounds like when you're a kid.
When life happens.
Well, when you're a kid, like, and a musician, you hope that, you know, you have a big hit record and everything goes crazy. And then when it does, I end up talking to people a lot who say stuff like, yeah, I had to go through that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they had to go through it. Mm-hmm. It's amazing that you've gone through what you've gone through, that you've landed in a place where you figured out what you really love to do and not all the other kind of stuff, you know? Like, were you always good at looking back on those older songs? Like, were you always good at looking back at the first record?
I don't know. I think there's something to when enough time has gone by. Yeah. Because like this time at my life now, when I sing Here's to Never Growing Up, which is, I don't know, 7 years old. Yeah. Maybe 5 years old. It's hit me in a different way where I'm like, oh my God, like that song goes off live. And I'm like, yeah, there's just something about when you've had like enough time has gone by, it like brings back memories. It's like slightly nostalgic. I don't know. And it's like playing these songs, like when I don't know, there's something about my happy ending when I like play that song live. Yeah. I like think of all of my tours I've been on. Like how many fucking times have I played this song? Yeah. Like it's like because I play it with the guitar and I'm staring out at the crowd and I'm like, it's so crazy to think how many times I've played this song, how many cities, how many countries, how many tours. I don't know. It's cool. My brain's weird. I think about stuff like that on stage, and then I'll be like, okay, am I getting poutine after the show? We're in Canada. Okay.
But like, it's an interesting time to be you, man. Like, you know, not everybody in 20 years into their career has new fans coming out to see them all the time. Yeah. Fans who weren't even born when that first record came out. Yeah. It's not everybody gets to have this opportunity.
Yeah, you know? I know I'm at this like crazy point in my career where like, I don't know, it's like younger people are discovering me too, like a different generation. And like, yeah, it's like gnarly. I feel like really stoked to be making music. I feel like really grateful. I think that it's rare, and I know that, and it's very special and unique. And I definitely think that every day. And I'm like super aware of it. So I love this. It's fun. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. I was like, in my head, I was on this tour. I was like, can we make the tour longer? This is so much fun.
Like, let me close off with a sort of a hard question, right? It's like I saw the video of you and what?
You just scared me. You're like, okay, here's a hard question.
No, not a hard question. It's not math or anything, Avril. It's just
okay. As long as it's not math.
I can't do any math. Look at me.
Hook me up in the calculator.
Does this look like a math face to you? No, it's not a math face. It's about why these songs have lasted as long as they did, right? Like, you know, like the other night you performed "Complicated" with Olivia Rodrigo on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, that was amazing. What was that like
Yeah.
for you? That must have been incredible.
Oh, she's so sweet, and I love what she's doing musically. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like she's been covering Complicated and asked me to come out and sing with her, and it was just like it was awesome.
So
You know,
what?
she's like going through what I went through at the same age. Started music really young, and you know, she's like people love her. She's blowing up. She's like an incredible songwriter. She's doing amazing performing live, and it's like a whole new thing. It's her first tour, and so it's inspiring seeing that. And like it's an honor. Like when she's like, "Oh, will you come out?" And like we were performing the song, and like she was so excited, and it was like good vibes.
Why do you think those songs have lasted as long as they have? Why do you think those songs from that first record have meant so much to so many people for so long?
Um, like the songs were authentic, but I think they were well written. I think like the production is there. It's catchy, the melody. It comes down to the melody and the lyrics and the energy. I think if you can catch a mood and really tap into something that's like real and like people connect to that. And you know, Lauren, Christy, and I spent a lot of time just like talking about what I was going through as like a young teen. And like I put that stuff into those emotions into my music. And there was like, as a young teen, there was a lot of like angst, and you're feeling like new emotions for the first time and going through shit you haven't gone through before, and like having crushes for the first time, and it was like all that went into my music, and it was like real and authentic, and I think that's a big part of it. I think so. So I always try to be like in my life and with my career, like my art, anything I do, I'm like always like just be like genuine, and like make sure I tell myself make sure I love it. You know, people will always feel that.
Yeah, I think that being genuine when everyone was telling you to not be in the early days, and then your career takes off because you were genuine. That's the lesson there. Hey, nice to meet you.
You too.
Thanks for coming and talking to me in the press room for the Toronto Marlies.
It's cool. Thank you.
Congrats on the
Thank
new
you
record too.
for the interview.